Hi everyone. Shall we do the sound check? Tell me if I'm being heard. Please, please, please. Happy to see you all, Marianne and Donald and Denise. It's been a very sunny day here finally. You doing okay, Donald? Good. Hi, Stefan. Nice to see you. Lovely evening to everyone. This is true. We had mega rain today. First it started with sun, mega rain. My grass is very happy. And then now it's sunny and you can hear the birds. Hi, Verpy. And Karen, welcome, welcome. Well, I decided today to read you a chapter from my new book, Behind the Wall. And I'll give it, hi, you made it, Bruno. Welcome, welcome. So, I'll read slowly. What I want to do is put up an image that won't distract us too much. At least I hope so. Can someone just tell me, hi Julie, welcome. Can someone tell me if sounds okay? And Andy Cooney, hello, hello. The poet has arrived. Hi Francine, nice to see you. Marianne, your angel is on the way to you today. I sent you an email with the tracking number. Thank you, Francine, for telling me. And Donald, Verpy, hi, hi. Hi, Yvonne. Thank you for coming. So, oh my goodness, you think we're going to have rain and thunder later? Whatever, all in the day. I hope you're all okay. Hi, Sanji. Welcome. Okay, Tim, hi. Nice to see you, or at least hear you. Okay, special people. Let me put on the image so we feel like we're... Hi, Carmen. Nice to see you, or to hear you. Okay. Find a quiet, comfortable place, and for some it might be a bedtime story. Right. This was the chapter called Momentary Lapse of Reason, Daring to Be. And it was in 1985 to 1989. Day after day, the sting got stronger. Accusations came from all directions. The battle for the name went on and on. I remember the moment David further closed his heart and rage took its place. He tried to contain it, isolating me and the kids from the process. However, the wall of protection and readiness for battle came between us as well. I remember thinking, if this is what it takes to succeed, then go for it, David. His integrity, his rights, his principles were at stake. I silently stood beside him before the wall. A battle cry went out. Pink Floyd is alive. His mind left Gilmore Land as his focus changed, directed towards the attacks. He was determined not to lose. Nick joined him, and so did Rick. But they questioned, can we do it? The nerves were high. The gauntlet was mainly held by David, as the creation of the next album developed. The fire inside had grown dim, but rose again from his anger within the creative process. David was by his nature a person who sought to work together with everyone involved, even to compromise to get the album done. However, if injured and walked over, he stands immovably stubborn. In this instance, the pain was intense, and I watched each of the band members rage in theirs. David hurt, Nick hurt, Roger hurt, Rick was no longer there, and Steve held the reins tightly. The press had a field day as their fans teetered in their opinions. I watched and continued to hold the routine at home with the kids, my heart left alone in the task. His alienation was greeted with love and support, as I knew this was bigger than we were. He stood for equality, respect, and justice. The voice of justice would soon be heard and clear the way. Days in court pursued them, solicitors after solicitors, and in the end, they won. It did not tear down the inner wall because there was more to carry. As we went into our future, Roger screamed, "There is spent force, no way!" They shouted to the world. Determined, they went forth, holding the vision. Bob Hezron stood by them after what had transpired. The Pink Floyd name was theirs now. It was time to make an album. They knew they had to get it right, otherwise they would be slaughtered. It was a very careful album, well done but careful. David and Nick felt touring to be an integral part of being in the band. However, despite winning the lawsuit, the record company still stood on pins and needles. Which one's Pink? In that climate, finding a promoter that would take a risk was a challenge. Was the Pink Floyd just a shadow of what they went before? Roger's voice went far, heralding his bitter attacks that he was the one. "They won't do it. You will never do it." That was just the thing needed to strengthen Dave and Nick's resolve. Eventually, they found a promoter that dared to do it in Canada. Michael Cole saved the day. Not knowing if Roger would issue an injunction or not, he began to sell tickets. They sold out quickly, but there still remained the question of how the fans would receive Roger not being there. On top of this was the question of how they would pay for the setup. I stood within this force on high alert and concerned. Little did I know that David had mortgaged our home, and Nick sold his 1962 GTO Ferrari for $14 million to finance the venture. I did sense something extra was happening that was worrying in my heart within the tension. Our family security was on a tightrope as well. Millions were needed and found. I really wish he had shared it with me. He would have known how much I supported him all the way. I trusted him. No wonder David grew more withdrawn from me. Our eyes stopped meeting. I kept looking. He was holding more than tension. He was holding a secret. Then one day Steve O'Rourke took me out for dinner, alone, in our little quaint restaurant down the road. From behind his glasses, his jaw terse, he delivered the message that the band would have to do another tax exile. I stared through him as I remembered David's words after the last one. Never again. However, again had just arrived and Steve was instructed to tell me. I wonder why. My heart ached in quiet desperation. Was I becoming more English? I continued yearning for our love to return, and each night as I held the children in my arms, tears would often escape, revealing the truth of my inner dilemma. The emotion arose within me in the night. I struggled to hold a positive outlook for our future. Back in Gilmore Land, preparations continued to travel again after our summer in Lindos. We were to start in Toronto, Canada. The band would be rehearsing for 4 weeks in a bonded warehouse at Lester Pearson International Airport. They had created a huge spectacle a la Floyd, but a lot had changed technically since they had last been on the road. Rehearsals were imperative. Timing was imperative. Instead of a handful of technicians, there were 200. I lost track of all their names as they came and went. Faces would begin to be familiar and then disappear. There were 3 separate stages that required maneuvering across continents in the year to come. The technical side was more complicated than ever before. The mixing area looked like Nassau Base Control, and before, when I sat there, it was so much tinier. Now I felt as if I was in a spaceship listening to ground control. In addition, the loading of the trucks had become a science. What a task it was to load and unload the trucks. It was larger than the Animals Tour. Trucks to take away, trucks to unload and relay. I remember how small our little ones were when they stood before the 80-foot-high stage in the echo of the warehouse, their little blonde heads leaning backwards as they looked up for their dad. It was huge. A metal cage 160 feet long and 90 feet deep was created, almost the size of a Boeing 727. The warehouse was a perfect place to rehearse for the tour. It was private and secure, with lots of space to play and build. Eventually, word got out. Small groups of people passing by would stop and listen. And on the night of the full run-through, they had an audience. The hangar doors were open to let the summer breeze cool the air as the rumble of airplanes taxiing added to the sound effects. It was unplanned, spontaneous gig as slowly the hangar was filled inside and out by airport personnel. In addition, a collection of service and emergency vehicles congregated with swirling lights around the doorway. From a distance, the light show seeped out of the cracks of the warehouse, making it look like something out of E.T. or Batteries Not Included. We were renting a wonderful home on Lake Ontario. Each evening, the children and I would walk to the edge, climb down to the jetty with bread and feed the birds. The lake spread out before us for miles, empty. The blues and pinks of the approaching sunset filled the air. It was quite breathtaking. The girls were excited, waiting for the moment to arrive each evening, and Matthew was babe in arms, a toddler. Mommy, where are the birds? Just wait. They will come. Start with little pieces and drop them into the water. And sure enough, one by one, from out of the blue, the birds would start to fly towards us. So many that on some days we did not have enough bread. So, how do you feel about that? Bruno. Good evening, Richard. Hi. Did you catch part of the story I was reading from the new book, Behind the Walls? Hang on, I'll come back on. Thank you, Donald. Bruno, what do you want to know about James Guthrie? Because he started working on the wall. Thank you, Marianne. I noticed you said you ordered it today, which is wonderful. I love holding it. Thank you, Jenny. I have to say, I was a bit skeptical at first when my publisher said, let's make an adaptation, a smaller one. And there are some different little stories in here and photos, but generally it's a book made so that many more can have it, because the big one, some people couldn't get it. So here we are. And I have to say, I love holding it. It's like something warm. I'm so pleasantly surprised. And it is now on pre-order on Amazon. The stories are reduced and added on. And there's all kinds of different photos on each chapter and each child. We talk about it. The main thing is, how could a family work through the experience of being a rock and roll group that became very, very famous. Tim, I'm working on how to do that, and I will let you know. But can I read you one of my favorite chapters? This is called Isn't She Lovely? The Wall Concerts, Earl's Court, 1981. It was the last one, actually. And hang on, just let me see what your messages are. Down, let's check it out. I don't want to lose you. Okay, why don't you be vocal on this? What does that mean, Bruno? Right side of the moon is warm too. Yeah, I'd love that. It's like the collector's item now. Sad that David was drifting away from a beautiful family. That PF was starting to struggle. I know, Drew. It's something really touching and wonderfully written, and it's just great to publish it in a way it can reach more people. That's what I wanted, because the main thing is that we all build up walls with problems. And it's so important to know that there's another part of us beyond the wall. And that's why I call it Behind the Wall. Not only is it to do with the Floyd. Thank you. That would be great. Okay, I'm going to read the next one. It's I love reading as well for you guys. So here we are. This time my face will still be in the picture, if that's okay. All right, the chapter, it's a short one, but it is something that is beautiful. I have to say, and I don't think it's in here, every morning for the children's birthday morning, we would always sing the song of You Were Born. Oh my goodness, my mind, where is it? It'll come back. Anyway, the Wall concerts at Earl's Court were about to begin. The month was June and I was pregnant, not far away from the day our next baby would be with us. The countryside was a bit warm and muggy, the air rather close, so I stayed in the coolness of our home, drinking homemade iced tea. David was rehearsing during the day and sometimes into the night. One evening, Happy Birthday by Stevie Wonder was playing on the radio as I prepared dinner. The song always gets me dancing, and it is such a happy song. I never knew that Stevie had written it as part of a campaign to have Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday become a national holiday in the States. In fact, he was one of the main organizers and decided to create this single to make the cause known. The holiday he proposed would facilitate the realization of Dr. King's dreams of integration, love, and unity for all of God's children. An interview with Stevie took place that evening on the news. He was in the UK to promote his new album, Hotter Than July, on which was Happy Birthday. It was a great interview. He has such heart, joy, and a sense of humor. The interviewer asked him, "Stevie, how does it feel being blind?" And he responded, "I don't mind so much being blind. I would probably mind if I were black." And then he laughed. The facetious twist held our laughter and thought, wonder what he really meant. There were 6 concerts. I was rather big, so I didn't go to all of them. Furthermore, the atmosphere amongst the band had reached an all-time high to such a degree that we each had separate porta-cabins, modular buildings, backstage. To compound the dividing wall of separation, Roger and Rick had theirs turned away from the center of the hospitality circle. Long gone were the days we shared dressing rooms together, greeting friends and family. But unbeknownst to the waiting people, it would be the last time the Floyd would play together again for nearly 25 years, and it would be at Live 8. The center of the hospitality area was carpeted and had tables with white garden umbrellas and flowers, as though we were backstage at Ascot without the hats. Many people were congregating around one of the tables. I wandered over to see who was sitting there. It was Stevie Wonder. He came to the gig and was a magnet for everyone. Somehow, someone offered me a chair to sit down next to him. Maybe it was because I was rather pregnant and needed to sit down. Many were envious as we chatted for a while. Can you guess the subject? Babies. He put his hand on my tummy, bending closer, and gently sang, "Isn't she lovely?" for a few bars. My tummy tingled. Did he know it was a girl? We didn't. Now every time I hear that song, I remember the night Stevie Wonder blessed my baby. Isn't she lovely? Yes, she is, our Sarah. So, Bruno is having... So, Denise said the wall is such a great name because we do build walls. I've been doing that to shield myself when dealing with cancer. I can imagine, Denise, at the same time while you're building... The reason why you're building a wall for cancer is because you want to... you're so vulnerable, and the outside world is not the calmest energy. So what I would advise is to do this protection visualization of a bell, a silver bell that you're within with a floor, and the inside of the bell is deep, deep blue, midnight blue, and outside is the silver. Then around that, place a pyramid, equilateral pyramid around the bell with a floor in gold. And I had to do that many times when I go through phases of being really sensitive to the outside energy that's flying around. So I remember to do that. So that will give you a protection so that when you're inside the bell curve, go to your soul realm within and bring in a golden light and a golden river, a waterfall coming through all the time. And that's a healing, so that whenever it's really important for you to touch the soul realm of who you are, to bring about a balance and a healing for the cancer. And I remember doing a paper once on the esoteric and the exoteric way of treating cancer. And the exoteric is the outside, and the esoteric is about the inside aspect of who we are. And the thing about the cancer cell, cancer cells aren't happy because they are actually in a spiral, an energetic spiral that is counter to our energetic healing life force, it seems. And they know that they're not alive. So we started practicing that, sending the love to them and tell them that you wanted to be their friend, and they don't need to counteract the life force, that we can work together to make sure that you are healed and in harmony. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but that's what we did. Good. Yeah, Denise, it is like that. It's. Are you on chemotherapy as well? Let me go down. Bruno, your pictures that you kindly donated are in the book. As I told you in our email, I apologize because my, who was it, the editor decided not to put the credits in the book for anything. So I apologize, but they are in there. And I thank you gratefully. So it's 12:30 now, and I have to ask you if you want another story, or shall we do our healing? Let me see what everyone's saying. Thank you, Julie. I know. The thing that I wanted in the book is that life has always got its challenges and its drama. And I always look for what the soul intention, how to transform whatever it is. And okay, so far we've got people wanting stories. All right. Let me see which one. I've got some that make you cry with heart tears, and I've got some that are really funny. So I like this one. It's called Daddy Too Loud in Japan in 1988. So let's see. Okay, I think the group's discussion what's the word? Well, we're going to read another story. Okay. Daddy Too Loud in Japan, 1988. David had been away for 2 months touring in Australia and New Zealand. I was to join him in Japan with Matthew, who was just about 3. The girls had to stay back in the UK as they were still in school. English schools were getting less sympathetic about us taking them out on tour or to other exotic places except in holidays. I loved watching David together with Matthew. They were like carbon copies, little and large. Well, maybe not too large. They were mates. David always wore a brown leather flying jacket, and so did Matthew. For I had found a child version in one of the London markets. Some of the first concerts were to be in Tokyo. Matthew was always attracted to David when he sat at home or backstage or in the hotel playing the guitar. He would teeter on the edge where David was sitting, listening and fascinated. The day came when I said that we would go to the concert and hear Daddy playing on stage. We went together for rehearsal, including our nanny, Rebecca, intending to stay through the evening concert. I took Matthew out to the mixing desk to let him get around in freedom. He loved running around the empty seats. The auditorium were like being in a huge playground except for the wires, of course. Thank God the wires were taped down. All the roadies loved our kids. They were big brothers, and the kids had a very large family as a result. The rehearsal was about to begin, so I walked over to where Matthew was playing. Matthew, Daddy is going to play now. We must go and to the mixer. I held him, jumping about with childlike enthusiasm in my arms as we wandered over to where we could stand. For a moment, his eyes were at attention, looking everywhere at what seemed like Star Trek Enterprise. He was fascinated with all the little flashing lights on the mixers and the men with headsights calling cues. He always observed the little things. God, compared to what he does now, that probably seems really simple. Anyway, back to the story. Sounds of roadies clattered as the band entered onto the stage. David picked up his guitar as the rest of the band took their places. With the first note that loudly traveled around the empty auditorium, Matthew screamed, "Oh, Daddy loud, Daddy loud!" Oh, God. His shouting continued as I hurriedly took him down the aisles to the safety of the backstage. The music got louder and louder as we sought refuge. The band went into full swing. The auditorium was pulsating with volume. His hands clung to his ears as he continued to shout, "Daddy loud! Daddy loud!" My pace got faster, as you can imagine, all the while wishing I had ear protectors for my child. It was not quite what I had expected. The other children had seemed okay in the past. Well, Matthew was a sensitive child to loud sounds at home. I should have thought ahead. All was good throughout the rest of the day. He played backstage, eating the meal I had packed for his dinner and the snacks, I might add, provided for the band. He played with many who thought he was cute, and eventually he fell asleep on the comfy couch in the dressing room until it was over, when we could take him back to the hotel. Another day on the road with children had drawn to close. So, we have 20 minutes. We could do a brief healing. Yeah. I know. It's. I find it remarkable what Matthew plays with sound-wise now, and he's so good. So good. And apparently his new album is out on pre-order. I have to get mine in because he's only going to print the ones that for pre-order. So get yours before it's too late. Oh my goodness. So happy for him. I'm really looking forward to hearing what is on the album because I have no idea. But anyway. So how is Jessie, by the way, Francine? Let's see the message. Where are we? Thank you, Francine. How is Jessie? How's the operation? How did the operation go? Thought I'd sent you a message, but maybe I forgot. I believe that you tagged me in that picture of David and Matthew. I probably did, Donald. It's we also we're in Japan, and that was Japan. Here we go. David and Matthew in their bomber jackets. Japanese poster, and me and young Matthew. I had the most amazing experience there in one of their gardens. We had heard a lot about it, and we got the promoter to allow us to go into one of these gardens. I know, say la vie. I've been listening to it a lot this week. Hi, Beta. Thank you. I just love Say La Vie, the original version, and maybe the quiet one too. But he looks so handsome, and I love Breach, I have to say. But those are older songs, and we'll see what he's going to be giving us. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that she had it last week. Okay, well, I'll keep lighting the candle for her. Yeah. There's some really cute stories in there. Hang on, Julie. I know Matthews the Grey is what? On SoundCloud, but I regret not getting the CD. I hope it's re-released Sunday. Well, Julie, I've got a whole box of them upstairs, and I recently asked Matthew what we should do about him. I know that's a good idea, Richard. Excuse me. But apparently, YouTube, when I put them up on YouTube, would cut me off. Excuse me for coughing. So, shall we do a short meditation? And especially one for little Jessie. We'll do a good call, Richard. I know, it'd be really nice. I probably should do an audiobook, don't you think? And then maybe I'll get away with Matthew's music being behind it, if he would let me. And I'd give him, a percentage of the sales. That might help. But in the end, I'll have to ask him and see what he thinks. Okay, so let's do a meditation. A short one. We've got about 15 minutes, so that will work. Hang on. I'm going to go back to my favorite peachy one. Where is it gone? Maybe it's that one. Yeah, let's do this one for our little Jessie in the world. Okay. Oh no, Richard, copyright rules. All right, since we have a short amount of time, let's stop texting and get in a nice, calm sitting position. Ideally, if you're lying down, then be calm. Enjoy it. Okay. Let's focus with our eyes open for the moment on our breath and the picture, the colors, the healing color of the ochre and the yellow and the gentle peach blossom. And on your breath, feel the colors coming in. Breathing in, hold it, see the color within, and release. Breathe in, hold it, and release. Once again, sense the gentleness of the peach blossom and the light and the lotus flower. and bring in that quality within. Breathing in, hold it, and release. This time, close your eyes and be still. But find the color gently flowing through your body from your head, through your eyes and your ears and your mouth and your chin, relaxing, and your neck and your shoulders and each arm down to your fingers, relaxing, relaxing. And come back to your upper chest, your lungs, and your heart, and your spleen, and your pancreas, and liver, and kidneys. Fill it with that gentle peach blossom, and smile. Breathe in the color and exhale your tension. Let's visualize little Jessie lying on a healing bed, and place that color in the lotus flower, lots of lotus flowers all around her, and allow the softness of your love to gently caress her, surround her. Create a crystal ball of light with your love. Let her know that she is safe. She is loved. And all will be fine. And that we are here to support her becoming a beautiful woman for the world. And I have to say, your eyes are so full of love, Jessie. It touches me deeply to know you exist. You are wonderful. And the operation you'll have will make her stronger. And you will be able to run outside and play with the flowers and the dog, and maybe a rabbit or two, or a duck, or even a horse. For sure, the butterflies. And we are here for you every day. Always. We will be with you on the day of your operation, especially. And the angels will be there because they know how special you are. And God is guiding your life with His love and protection. And we're all inside your heart. A little crystal of light is there from all of us, especially from the Creator who brought you here. You are a love child. Now everyone on this stream, come back to your own body, blessing Jessie first, and come back and visualize the crystal bowl of water and salt, and wash your hands out to your elbows, cleansing, and come back to your own spine and cleanse your spine, and stand underneath the crystal waterfall of rainbows and cleanse your body and cleanse your heart and release all tensions, all hurts, and allow it to flow out down the river of life and transformed into beauty. It's the cycle of life. And know there is this little crystal in your heart as well. You can always touch it. It's full of love and light and wisdom. And always keep contact with that. Life will bring challenges, but they're there to strengthen our connection to our souls, to beauty, to love. That's the true reality of life. And it dissolves all your tension the more you relate to that as the way you truly are. So let's return to paying attention to our breath. And once again, fill our bodies with the peach blossom and the lotus flower and the light of gold and yellow. And allow it to flow through. Let's sit in the stillness for a moment and relax. Relax. So in your own time, open your eyes in your room where you are and feel your feet on the floor. Wiggle them a little bit. Gently wiggle your hands. And in your own time, come back to the stream. May peace be with us all. Thank you all for being here. I really enjoyed being together with you today. And let's think of Jessie as often as we could. And Francine, keep me posted as to how she's doing. And Marianne, let me know when your angelic blessing shows up. Thank you, Richard. I think you're pretty wonderful yourself, Richard. And Andy, you're most welcome, Verpy. Thank you, everyone. Just, Francine, please confirm with me the exact date in a messenger, if you would be so kind. Anne Marie, I can't read your message because it's in a different language. Hang on. It says they have C translation. Hang on a minute. Oh dear, where have you gone? It says, vibes in all the light of all my hands since I don't understand English, for Jessie of my heart, United Nations Organization. Thank you, Anne Marie. The great thing about these things, the vibration of stillness still works. I saw that, Julie. I didn't quite understand what you meant by them. Can you tell me now? I will let Tony know about what is the gentleman, the artist. I forgot the group now. You take care too, Karen. You're welcome, Jenny. Richard. Okay. Thank you, Marianne, that you will, if we could all just pray for Jessie. Everyone, have a great day. Thank you, Stefan, for coming. And it's time to go. Thank you, Canon, for being here. And the meditation was really special, so it is still on Be Creative until I put it on YouTube. And what am I here for? I know what it is. Thank you, Verpy. The more the merrier, the better she'll feel.